Full time, Brighton 2, Manchester United 1, a game that United wouldn't have gone ahead to lose. But I tell you what, the man to blame is none other than Erik ten Hag. Welcome to the United Matters channel. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. United have gone ahead to suffer their first loss of the season. And guess what? It is really very painful according to how we went ahead to lose this game of football. And sometimes I've already told you, most times I've already told you that this season I'm not gonna come in here and obviously feel any little bit of softness for the manager because he's responsible for what is really happening. And this game has been lost in the hands of Erik ten Hag. I tell you, we've lost this game of football in the hands of Erik ten Hag because we had all what it takes to obviously win this game of football. That is it. From the lineup that he chose at the beginning of the game, he was really doing wrong things, I tell you. You know, there is no way you tell me that you are having a Joshua Zirkzee scored against Fulham and you don't start him against the team of Brighton. What other game are you going to start him if at all you cannot obviously start him when you're playing against Brighton? Because you saw to it that the two central defenders of Brighton were really having a holiday for the first 45 minutes of the game. No one could obviously tamper into their space, and that was really very, very, very agitating. And I tell you what, it was the first big mistake that we went ahead to make as a club of Manchester United, and all those decisions were made by Erik ten Hag. And if Erik ten Hag continues like this, I tell you, he is really going to be shown the exit door, I tell you. And sometimes you worry for him, but you ask yourself, why should I really worry? Why should I really worry for him when he knows to it that his job is really online? They wanted to sack him, won the FA Cup, got back the job, and see what he's doing. I think if you are Erik ten Hag, you really go ahead and obviously get in Joshua Zirkzee into the starting 11 for the club of Manchester United. Because when are you going to start him? You get? Those are the problems you're talking about. You know, it all started off with the substitutes, by the way. You know, Joshua Zirkzee obviously rectified at the beginning of the first half, at the beginning of the second half. They brought him on, and you saw to it that we now had a very good goal in there for you. But my problem was, you bring on Joshua Zirkzee, and you've gone ahead to go in for what we call a 4-3-2, and you're playing Marcus Rashford and Joshua Zirkzee as those players that were leading the line. That's where confusion really came into me, because I was like, what are you doing? If you wanted Rashford to lead the line, right? If you wanted Rashford to lead the line, then that meant that Garnacho had to come on at the beginning of the game to play on the left, play Ahmad on the right, play Bruno into the central attack midfield position, then go ahead and really let Rashford play as a number 9. You understand? And then you bring on Joshua Zirkzee, you change the system. 4-3-2, you get Rashford off the left, play him into the middle alongside Joshua Zirkzee, and I was like, what are these tactics all about? You know? And you saw to it that nothing really went ahead to happen into that kind of system that Erik ten Hag went ahead to deploy, and it was all about the brilliancy of Amad Diallo, who went ahead obviously coming through and really got that ball from Mazraoui, chopped on the left or on the outside, went in for a shot, and it was really a goal given to Amad Diallo that really came in through as an equalizer. But Erik ten Hag needs to wake up, because I think there is no time for us to be patient with him. I tell you, that time is not there. And he needs to come up and really understand that this game of football is really meant to be won, because the game was there for us to win. That is it. The game was there for us to win. But he's making it hard for us to win games. You know, look at the substitutions of Scott McTominay. You know, I ask myself, you know, you want to win the game, how do you take off your most creative player on the pitch, that is Bruno Fernandes, and you bring on Scott McTominay? That is my question. Who does that? Who does that? Who does that? You take off Bruno Fernandes, you replace him with Scott McTominay, and all right, would have gone ahead to say, all right, get in Scott McTominay onto the pitch. But even when Scott McTominay is gotten onto the pitch, guess what Ten Hag does? He leaves Kobe Mainoo playing as a number 8 and this guy to be playing ahead of him. That is really, really ramshackle substitutions. You get? I think the best thing to do, if you take off Bruno Fernandes, get Scott McTominay into the number 8 position alongside Casemiro, and then get Kobe Mainoo to be played as a number 10, because we all know that he has the brain to be playing there. Scott McTominay doesn't have the brain to be played as a number 10. He doesn't have that brain. You get? Those are the substitutions that I believe Erik ten Hag got wrong 100%. And if you want to, if you now have it in plan that Bruno Fernandes shouldn't be playing 90 minutes, you get? Then why do you start Mason Mount as a false number 9? Don't start Mason Mount. Get him off the bench and take off Bruno Fernandes, meaning that you are getting off a number 10 and you are getting in a number 10 onto the field of play. So I think we've gone ahead to lose this game in the hands of Erik ten Hag. That is it. No excuse, no what. We lost this game on the hands of Erik ten Hag, and is the man responsible for this loss that United have gone ahead to register today. And it shows you that ever since Erik ten Hag came in through as a manager of Manchester United, he has never gone ahead to collect 4 points in his first 2 games. The first season, he lost the 2 games, 2-1 to Brighton at Old Trafford, 4-0 to Brentford away at the Community Stadium. The second season, we beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 1-0, and then we lost to Tottenham Hotspur in the second game by 2-0. It has been the same story today. You know, we won the first game at Old Trafford against Fulham, and we've gone ahead to lose this game against a team known as Brighton away from home. That is really very, very disturbing for me, you know, because this Brighton side had gone ahead to really play us with a lot of respect, because they were hitting us on the break. That is it. And they surrendered the possession to the club of Manchester United, and we failed to obviously use all that into our strength. And this is where Erik ten Hag has to come out and really get to know that it's not all about what he thinks. It's all about doing right things. And this is where I come in and really say, Scott McTominay, however much the first bid has been rejected, we should be able to sell the player. I tell you, United should sell Scott McTominay, because we want players who can do the needful. That's what we want. Sell Scott McTominay, get Manuel Ugarte in. Because the more we delay to get in these players that the manager needs, we are obviously gonna really not look as we want to look. And you won't obviously wholeheartedly lift the blame onto the manager, because Ten Hag will be like, I gave you the list of players I wanted, and you are really dilly-dallying around. Yet you know to it that games of football are won and lost in the midfield. Why don't you get me the players in that midfield and really see to it that we really get on well together? You get? So that is Erik ten Hag for you. And I think he has a point when it comes to those deals. You know, I don't know why Manchester United is calling in for more money for Scott McTominay, yet he's left with just 1 year on his contract. And 25 million euro bid has been rejected by the side of Manchester United. I don't know how much they want, but this is all about pure profit. Let him go to Napoli, because he has nothing to do. He has nothing to do to this club, you know. Let him leave. Let us get in Manuel Ugarte. Simple business, because that's what the manager wants. And I tell you, if you had Manuel Ugarte onto the bench, you bring him on, obviously things happen, because he will hold onto that ball, he win duels, and he'll obviously win those spaces, because you saw to it that Casemiro couldn't really handle that midfield. Most of the times, it was really very porous. That is it. That midfield of Manchester United was really very porous, and it's the same thing that we had when you're playing against Fulham. And I tell you what, Casemiro looks good going forward, but shielding that back four is not being done as expected. That's why I tell you we need Manuel Ugarte. Get Manuel Ugarte in before even today comes to an end. We are not gonna really leave. We are not gonna be living, on the sympathy of our opponents, all the time. Look at how that first goal goes in. Harry Maguire just neglects what he's supposed to be doing. That pass was being played in, and when it was being played in, he had all the right to do the needful, but he didn't really sweep it off. You get? Even when it was played in to find the man called Welbeck to score it, you ask yourself, what are we doing? When this guy was really playing that ball, Dallo gave him all the space to think and really put in that cross. You cannot really allow a player like that obviously put in such energy and give him all the time to think. We had to press him. You get? We are really looking not like a side that is really yet to really win the top 4 position. And I hold on to it that if we don't get that position, Erik ten Hag is going to be sacked. He's going to be sacked because he's really making wrong choices. And guys, this season, I'm not going to be here saying that please leave the manager here. It's the 3rd season. It's the 3rd season, I tell you. And if it's the 3rd season, the manager has to come out and obviously do the due diligence. And what is the due diligence? Get the right players onto the pitch. The other question is, what is Marcus Rashford doing on the pitch? What is he doing on the pitch? Why was he supposed to play all those minutes? For me, 45 minutes, Rashford was not supposed to return onto the field of play. His body language is poor, right? He's still selfish. He doesn't really make the game count, and his end product is really bad. Why are we still starting Marcus Rashford? And I'm going to be here furious the next time we play Liverpool at Old Trafford and Rashford is onto that pitch. Garnacho has shown us that when he comes on, he makes things happen. That is it. Let's trust Garnacho onto the left and let's trust Ahmad Diallo onto the right. That is it. That is it. These boys are very hungry than Marcus Rashford and they are making things happen. And I've always told you that this might be the make or break season for Marcus Rashford. And if I'm Manchester United, if any team brings money right now, I offload him. I offload Marcus Rashford because there is nothing he's really going to do for us, unless otherwise he turns around. But the 2 previous games he's going to play, he has been poor. He has been poor. From the game of Manchester City to the game, that of the Community Shield, he missed a brace. You remember that very well. We come to the game of Fulham, he looked horrible, and the manager kept him on the field for 90 minutes. Today, he has played close to 60 plus minutes, and the manager took him off. You understand? And I tell you, if it wasn't Amad Diallo scoring that goal, the manager would have gone to obviously take off Garnacho and left Rashford onto the field of play. You understand? So, Ten Hag, please, trust the players that deserve to get onto the pitch and play football. If you continue trusting the likes of Marcus Rashford, I tell you, very many managers have gone ahead to come in through and obviously trusted these players, and these players have gone ahead to let these managers down. That is it. These players have gone ahead obviously laid these players down, and if at all you want to fall a culprit or a victim for this, everything is really going to come in through and not go our way. That is it. And that's why I'm going to obviously come up with the title Poor Ten Hag Tactics, because the tactics have been really naive. Renheg and Ruud van Nistelrooy, where is your hand into these substitutions that Ten Hag is really making? You get? We can't really allow this to happen. We are supposed to be looking better and better and better at the side of Manchester United, as we are really having 2 coaches, that are acting as your assistant managers, and they've been first team coaches at certain teams, and they've been really doing well. Why are we really not getting the right players on the field of play? And the game of Liverpool is really going to be what we call the purest test of it all, because Ten Hag has to have the best of his mind onto this game. I remember for the first season he was here, that's when he turned around his season by beating Liverpool and went ahead not to be beaten at Old Trafford in all the games that we played. But we are defending badly. When you look at the 2 goals that we concede, poor defending. Second goal, Lisandro Martinez rushes out of his position. You understand? And we are not having a player, really, we're not having a player marking those people. When I looked at that goal, I was like, who does that? That defending is really very, 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 very naive. We had close to 8 players in the 18 yards box area, and we couldn't defend a ball, and we had gone ahead, obviously, compact ourselves into a one position that couldn't obviously give us the result that we deserve in as far as defending is really concerned. None of those goals were supposed to cross the line today. That is really poor defending. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are having 8 players, and look, 3 players of Brighton are really unmarked, and João Pedro, the goal scorer, is here. Why do we have a 1v4 on one player? Why? I'm asking myself, why do we have a 1v4 on one player? You get? V4. Why do we have such? Why do we defend like this? The set piece coach should obviously be answerable onto this, because there is no way you come up with such a defending, and they've denied Andrew Onana to keep his clean sheet today. They've denied him because these players couldn't obviously defend better. You understand? These are 8 players, you get, and they're not really knowing exactly what is taking place here. You can't tell me that no one was really concentrating on what was happening here, because this far post has to be really marked. Dalot is here, you get. This is Matthias de Ligt, and you anticipate that Dalot would have gone ahead to obviously be around here, you get. And if at all Dalot is around here, you get to know that we don't really concede such a stupid goal. So we've been poorly defensively, very, very poor when it came to the way we defended, and it resulted into us conceding this winner in the dying minutes. Look, 95 minutes with 2 minutes to go, poor defending, and we go ahead to obviously concede. That is what United went ahead obviously do and present itself like that. And that is really very bad for the club of Manchester United. And I'm really very disgusted. We are not supposed to be losing this game. I think if it was a 1-1 draw, I think it would have gone ahead to be okay. But the way we've gone ahead obviously give away our chances has been really very, 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 very bad. And it's really very, very disgusting from the side of Manchester United, because we are supposed to be a team that defends better. But I believe we should really have a lot of command. And look at Casemiro. He's this kind of manager who is really, he's the guy who was here, and I think he's the most serious player in the field of play. And he should be ordering the Zexi to obviously look in here. You get? So, we defended poorly. That's the main reason as to why we lost. And the manager went ahead to put in tactics that I believe we are really a little bit lacking into the way we went ahead to play at the side of Manchester United. So, Erik ten Hag needs to revise his tactics. I tell you. Because these substitutions have gone ahead to cost us, and Manchester United is not all about that. Pressure is starting to mount. Remember, you're going to be playing against Liverpool, and if at all we lose to Liverpool at Old Trafford, you know what that means. You know what that means. We've gone ahead, obviously, get into We got behind in the 32nd minute, Danny Welbeck goal. Stupid goal, I might call it. Then at the hour mark, Amad Diallo equalizes. Then we had all the chances to kill off this game of football, and we couldn't obviously take our chances. That is the most painful bit of it all into this game of football. And let's get into these match stats. 14 shots by Brighton. United had 14. United had 11. 5 shots on target by Brighton. United had 4. 47% ball possession by Brighton. United had 53% ball possession. 463 passes completed by Brighton. 507 passes completed by Manchester United. 85% passing accuracy by Brighton. 87% passing accuracy by Manchester United. Then 9 fouls by Brighton. 13 fouls by Manchester United. 1 yellow card to Brighton. 2 yellow cards the side of Manchester United. And no red cards issued. Then 0 offsides to Brighton and 6 offsides to the side of Manchester United, because Brighton was really playing a high line. And this is where very many people are really going to be calling in for Matthias De Ligt to start as we are playing against Liverpool, because we need to play a high line. You're going to hate to see it that every time you're playing a high line, it's very hard for you to break down. And you saw to it that these 6 offsides were as a result as the side of Brighton playing what we call a very big high line. That high line was really great, and it really helped them press us, and United couldn't obviously find a pass. And you saw to it that on the 2 occasions that went ahead to see the ball cross the line, we had beat that high line. We beat it very well, but you saw to it that it was hard for us to orchestrate something. And it shows you what Erik ten Hag needs to do into his homework. Going to this game of football, he talked about how he went ahead to obviously revise all the bad things we did against Fulham and rectified them. But I never saw anything that we really did bad at Fulham rectified. I tell you, he brought the same lineup against Fulham. Playing with the false number 9, something that never really worked out well. And this time round, the manager went ahead to stick on it, which is really unacceptable. For me, it's very, very unacceptable. Very, very unacceptable by the manager. By we the fans of Manchester United, on how we are really playing. You have a striker, Joshua Zirkzee, with you. Why don't you get him on the field of play? Get him there immediately and see what he does. Because the more minutes he gets, the more chances he's really going to obviously get, and he'll obviously score, because you saw to it that his link-up play is really great. 4 corners to both sides, that is Manchester United and Brighton. And this is how the Premier League table is really looking as per now. Brighton is on top of the Premier League table, 2 games, 6 points. Arsenal, 1 game, 3 points. Liverpool, 3 points. Man City, 3 points. Aston Villa, 3 points. Brentford, 3 points. Newcastle, 3 points. And Manchester United is having 3 points in 2 games. And it shows you that we might find ourselves in the second or in the bottom half of the table, because other teams are going to come in through and really win these games of football, and Manchester United is really going to be played off that top 10. And that is how ugly things are really getting. So we wait and see how things are really going to be panning out. But I put all this blame on Erik ten Hag. I tell you, Erik ten Hag is the man to blame. Ocheng Daniel, poor Erik ten Hag substitutions. I'm going to hit to hint about it. Those were really poor, and he's responsible for everything that is going to happen badly into this game of football, because we deserved better. That is it. Alfred Kenny, the worst player was Onana, because seeing how he was behaving, looks like he was not ready yet for the game. No effort to show. How can you come out and blame Onana? Onana has not kept a clean sheet because of his defense. I think today I saw him really have some long ball distributions, and he was in the game. He was doing all he had to do. I tell you, there is no way I come out and blame Onana, guys. I don't know why people are really blaming Onana, but I believe he did what he had to do. The problem has been those players that are playing, that are really shielding his goal. Roger says, Erik ten Hag to blame. You're right. And hear me, I swear ten Hag will kill us this season. If he doesn't really do the due diligence, they are going to sack him. If he sticks with the likes of Marcus Rashford, he's really going to find himself sacked. Then Poskit, why buy Delete and then play Maguire? For me, I believe this should be the last game for Maguire to start. That is it. And I'm going to hate to see the propagandists of the English football that Harry Maguire, if at all he was kept on the field of play, then they wouldn't. I'm going to hate obviously consider goal. You understand? So I'm like, who does that? You get? Who does that? Because you can't come out and really tell me that Harry Maguire would have gone here to do anything. Would have gone here to do anything to stop that goal. You get? He wouldn't have gone here to do anything, I tell you. Nothing would have gone here to be done by him. Let's all admit. In all honesty, he wouldn't have gone here to do anything. That is it. Silva says we should give Ten Hag only 3 matches. If he fails, then he should go. For me, it's not all about the matches they should be given. I think they're going to give him almost this entire season. And if at all he fails himself, they'll show him the exit door. That is it. Because I believe that he has now the players to do the work. You get? Adeyemi, why did you buy Zexi? You bench your striker and keep exhausting Bruno Fernandes as a false number 9. That's one of the things I'm going to obviously talk about. And I felt like the manager is really not doing things right. Mazrui is in. He's playing 90 minutes. He played close to 80 minutes in the game of Fulham and he's playing 90 minutes. Why do you tell me that your striker Zexi cannot come in through and really play minutes in these games and really start? You get? You never played him in the game of Man City, yet you had a chance to bring him on. You get? To get in those 15 minutes. Then he played 30 against the side of Fulham and he scored. In this game, he had to start. Klein says, hey bro, it's hard to understand how Pedro had all that space to have a free header. The same mistakes from last season. Yeah, we have to rectify such stuff, because if you don't rectify such, we are obviously gonna really face very many problems. Then Lanre, seriously, I don't know what this man is thinking. What kind of tactics is this, for God's sake? Obviously, I'm really asking myself. Also, Silva, what was Harry Maguire doing in the field, and Mason Mount? Those are the players that should not even get close into the starting level of Manchester United. They should be bench players. They should be bench. Kiki, why do you buy a striker and play him and play false number 9? All right. Adeyemi, Eric Ten Hag make this serious mistake last season that cost us so many games. Now he has already started his useless tactics. For me, he's the one to blame for this loss. Klein, the first goal as well. Welbeck was given all the space, left unmarked. Harry Maguire had to sweep out that ball. Before it even went to Mitoma to really square that ball into the 6 box area to find Dan Welbeck unmarked. We had to obviously do the needful. But where were those players of Manchester United? Cavolo, I see no improvement on Ten Hag's ball. I think the improvement is there, but I believe you cannot play well when you're not having a focal point. Let's all agree on that. You need a focal point to obviously be playing on very well. But you sort it that went ahead to change when we really went ahead to put in a player called we went ahead to bring on a player called Joshua Zexi. Things turned out to be different. We once again throw games in the last minutes. That is Poskit, yeah. And Bruno and Mount will never play together. I don't know why Ten Hag is really trying to do such. Mason Mount, I don't see him thriving at the club of Manchester United. That is it. Because if Rasmus Højlund returns to play as number 9 alongside Joshua Zexi, I tell you, Mason Mount's left position will be playing as a number 10. And unless otherwise Bruno gets injured, nothing will obviously come into his way. Happy Chris says, hey David, poor game plan and decision making by Eric Ten Hag. We had all it takes to win this game today. I tell you, we had all what it takes to win this game. That is it. It was written all over the world that this game was ours. But we really gave it away like that. Then Lanre, Adeyemi, our player always make mistakes and they aren't tracking back when it comes to set pieces. They only focus on one-sided area, on one-sided activity area. Set piece coach needs to do that, I think. The manager doesn't know how to. His subs were poor for me. From the word go, he needed something better. Casemiro looks sluggish. Passes is 0. I would prefer Ugarte if we sign him. Then Casemiro should come in whenever we are winning. We should. Everyone who believes that Casemiro is really going to really turn around this season, I don't really say no to your decision, but I believe Manuel Ugarte should be gotten in as soon as possible. And I think the loss of Manuel Ugarte, right, the loss of Brighton should see us bring in two midfielders, because if Scott McTominay leaves, that means we should get in another midfielder. And if we can land Amrabat in and a player called Ugarte, that will be some serious business for the club of Manchester United. Godwin says injury is a culture from Erik ten Hag due to bad play styles. He starts his game in the wrong way and he makes substitutes in the wrong way. To Erik ten Hag is not good for the Premier League. For me, I don't think that he should be sacked, and he still has some time, but he should rectify all these mistakes. You get? He should rectify them immediately. Rashford benched, Zexi should start, and Matthias De Ligt should start against Liverpool. That is it. Swale, Ten Hag is very poor. He can't compete. He can compete because he has shown us that he can compete, but the problem is he's making himself look not the student of the game, yet he should be a student of the game. You know, to be the best in class in the Premier League, you need not to really make stupid mistakes. You have to come up and obviously put in the required shift altogether. You get? Rashford shouldn't be starting for Manchester United. That is Vigila Prita. Then Poskit. There is a big difference between one-off match at a cup final and 38 games. But he has already gone ahead to show us that he can be good in 38 games. In his first season, he looked good. Let's all admit, you know. But he needs to obviously get these things right. Then Vitalis says he starts slowly. Why passing ball to Onana 100 times instead of passing? No, that is okay, provided you don't lose the ball, because the modern game of football is all about ball retention. You know, you keep the ball until when you really make those players really slip up a little bit, like you test their mentality and then really hit them on the break or find in a pass that will obviously do the needful. You understand? Then Klein says, imagine if Brighton had a guy like Salah in that position of Minter. I don't know how many goals he would have coughed. That boy wasted. I don't think so. Salah faced Diego Dallo. I think he faced even Amas. Couldn't obviously go past Amas. It's not all about goals. It's not all about the player there. But I believe Dallo went ahead to do a beautiful job. And the problem is, Rashford never found himself in a position of really tracking back most of the times, and he left this guy exposed. This is what people don't really look at, you know. Garnacho also did the same. Comes on, doesn't want to track back, and I'm like, what are these players really doing? Why do you really let your left back really suffer like that? Come join the party, win the ball, and obviously go ahead and redo the needful. I don't know whether it's the plan that the manager tells them, but I really hate that. Tuinomo Gisha, hello Man United fans. Ten Hag has poorly chosen the lineup. You can't guarantee to play false number 9 in every game. Yet Yosha Zexi was on the bench. That is it, you're right. Daniel Tower, why keep Zexi on the bench and play Bruno as a false number 9? Why did you buy Zexi? That is it. Because last season we have only one center forward. This time around he's available and is not being used. Already, the game was good. The only thing is, why is Ten Hag taking off Bruno Fernandes, Ahmad, and put on Anthony and McTominay? What the fuck? Alright, I get your game. Unacceptable loss and referees against us. When did the referees be against us? I don't really remember. Adebayo, God go punish United. He need to. I don't think that you can call for the sacking of Ten Hag right now. The season is still so young. Gaddafi coaching staffs are responsible. Yeah, the coach is responsible. Okaya, Zexi should have started the game. That's it. Omalti, Nomegicha, Rashford and Mount. Rashford and Mount, we are still crying. Obviously, very bad. Lucas says, why sign players that can't use at the right position? It seems we are not serious. Tune says, already, Rashford must be benched totally. I wish I could speak directly to the board. You've spoken, they might obviously hear you now. Duke says, Ten Hag right. Then Karangwa, Eric Ten Hag has to answer all. Poor everything, choosing poorly. First 11, poor substitution, poor command of players, poor game reading, favoritism. I don't think that favoritism is here, but he has to make a decision because taking off Marcus Rashford today was really good. It's a good signal. Now, let him not start against Liverpool because Garnacho showed us that he could make things happen. You get? This is a fight between light and darkness. Light always wins. All right, let's wait and see. When the light is obviously going to come through and really win. Ten Hag, we don't want a Fab Emma. There is no way we can back Ten Hag. This season, I tell you, he has to really do the needful. If he doesn't do the needful, I tell you, he has to leave. That is it. Nyeko, we can't go on like this. Ten Hag needs to reconsider his team selection. Bench players who are not performing. Otherwise, Ten Hag will have to face the axe. Obviously, he will. If you really trust these players, because these players have been here for some long time and they've gone ahead to cost very many managers their jobs. Then Fab Emma, let us be sincere, Mount is not a United player. And me, I don't see him really thriving. You know? I think Ten Hag should be playing him in the favorite position. And even when he played him there and played Bruno as a false number 9, Mount was nowhere to be seen. Onesimus, Maguire should be benched and start Delete. Bench Rashford and start Garnacho. That is the best. Yeah. Lungu says, Wan-Bissaka was 97%. Don't talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. People, I think Mazrui is going to obviously do us the best. You get? That is it. And this time round, we are doing better. You saw Mazrui. He was one of the best players on the field of play. Him and Amadi Diallo looked good, and Garnacho. To me, those were the 3 best players onto the pitch. Players okay, but Eric Ten Hag is the problem. He is the man. He has to select better players. That is it. Onesimus, it's always useless to wake up late. This game is a poor plan for Man United. Yeah, the game was really poor plan. The game plan was poor. Fab Emma, but I see even if all our injured players come back, there may be no change unless Ten Hag changes tactics. I know that we'll see like Luke Shaw coming on. Rasmus Højlund will obviously be starting. And if Rasmus Højlund is back and Joshua Zirkzee is really fit, we won't be into this. False number 9 stuff. And if at all he ever goes ahead to do it, I'll be like, Eric Ten Hag should pack his bags and go. You play false number 9 and having 2 strikers of the field into your squad, you should let them leave. You get? Brentford, Benedict, Man United are the Red Devil, and Brighton are the Light Jesus win. All right. Then Nguyen, sell Sancho, Rashford, Bruno, Maguire, please. I think Bruno has some work to do, but Sancho, Maguire, Scott McTominay should leave. Look at Man City, 3-1 here. 3-1, they've gone to kill off the game immediately. And it shows you what being clinical really calls for. You understand? Under Mohamed Kelly, Man United Football Club need to revisit the old style of football. I don't think that here, where we are, it's a decision made by the board. They want to play like that. Quick passing and being the best transitional team in the world. All that can be okay when you're having a number 9 onto the pitch and when you're really having a high line. If you want to press a team very well, you need to be playing with what we call a high line. So, if you don't play with the high line, then all this won't really happen, because Brighton made it hard for us to break them down because they are playing with a high line. You get? Innocent Mapango, the manager is just mentally, because how do you reserve a striker and use the squad mount? Yet we bought Ten Hag. Everything is on him. That is it. What was your prediction, Mr. Aradi? I had gone in for a 3-2 win for the club of Manchester United. That is it. Because I believe that if at all Joshua Zirkzee started the game, then United would have gone ahead to stand a better chance to win this game of football. Would have gone ahead to really kill off the game immediately, because Brighton had gone ahead to surrender possession to us and they're hitting us on the break. Sheriff with the Antoro, he says Ten Hag out. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rock and David is my name. That has been my submission for this game of football that we've gone ahead to lose by 2-1. And to me, Erik Ten Hag is to blame. I'm out. I'm returning with their player ratings into the mix. Sendagede says Marcus Rashford should go. So guys, thank you for being part of this live video, and continue to subscribe because we want to hit 20,000 subscribers, and keep the notification bells on because we are still in the summer transfer window, as it's left with some 6 days to go.